Good morning, and welcome to the Bipolar Sunrise. I'm your host, Garrett Nichols.
I'm still John Armstrong.
Still John Armstrong.
That is correct.
I didn't want to say anything, but I beat John in like 3 games of pool back to back this morning. Just wanted to start the show off like that to let everybody know that I've still got it as far as pool playing goes. Would you say I ever had it? Sometimes I could play good, but I was never consistent. You're more consistent.
Well, I got a pool table, which has made me a really good pool player on my pool table. I go to other pool tables, it sucks ass.
Man, it's like the home court advantage, except for it's the
Right.
you've got the speed of the table.
That's why I like the
probably
Super
most.
Bowl when shit goes on. They usually play at a different field that neither one are used to. And you're talking about like the same size, but we're talking about grass grows different. They turf. I mean, I don't know. Like
It does make it an even playing field.
it
both
does. It definitely
places
does.
came from, or both teams came from a team, or I'm sorry, excuse me, a place that had AstroTurf as their primary practice and team play goes.
Traction's a little different. The way the ball bounces is a little different, I'm sure.
Oh man, and like imagine you're from Miami, right? And the Super Bowl's in Maine.
Oh, geez, New York or something like that where it's fucking cold.
But you're used to playing typically in these Midwestern teams would be probably
And humidity's got something to do with it too, I'm sure.
not only the humidity has something to do with it, like as far as externally, your body's going to feel the heaviness of the moisture,
Right.
but also internally, like mood as well, like attitude. Like I'll tell you, like in my experience in sports throughout my entire life, I mean, I've done some kind of sport, whether it's an amateur
Right.
lifting sport, jiu-jitsu, whatever. Then in high school, played sports. If you think you're gonna win, that goes a long way.
Nobody wants to get their ass whooped on their own field.
But I'm saying before that, psychologically, when you go into something, and it's anything, right? Like if I was gonna challenge you to pool this morning, if I put my heart into it and I thought, man, I've been practicing, I'm gonna beat John.
You're going to lose.
But at least I was positive.
Right.
I guess the point I'm making, that could happen actually. But
Good. I dick off though a lot.
the optimism is what gets you.
Well, I notice when I'm shooting pool, I kind of shoot how my opponent's shooting. Like,
So
if you suck really bad at pool, I'm going to take shots I wouldn't normally take. Then if I was at like a league, I'll be like, oh, okay. I know I can make this shot.
you'd get good at jujitsu really fast.
But the weird
if you
thing,
had that attitude.
yeah, you got
Dude,
to.
If you had,
I watch a lot of movies. I'm probably pretty good at karate already.
dude,
and
it's
jiu-jitsu.
hard. I mean, on karate, I have no doubt. You've been watching Karate Kid since you was a kid,
Right.
and those types of movies.
Yeah. Cobra Kai.
But if you went into jujitsu and everybody you rolled against, you're big, right?
I don't see me as big.
You're bigger than I am.
Yeah, but like
I'm big, John.
I'm like a lap dog. I really don't know how big I am. Like, I'm starting to see it now with Xander. He's fucking ginormous.
Yeah.
He fractured my rib the other day.
Get over here, boy.
Gave me a hug. And I was like, oh, fuck. All right. And I'm hugging him tighter. He's hugging me tighter. I'm like, dude, he's a man now. He's not a little kid anymore.
He's only going to get stronger for the next 10 years.
Dude, he is fucking strong. That
I mean,
fucking
he's
kid.
just naturally.
And he
I've never
doesn't-
seen Xander pumping iron.
And he doesn't know he's that big.
Well,
He
you
still
don't know.
thinks-
You just said you're fucking 50, and you just said, I don't think I'm that big.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm 155 pounds or 255, and
People call you Big John.
yeah.
It's weird. Is that one of those ironic names you think? To where
Well,
you're
when I
actually
was
not
younger,
big?
everybody called me Little John because my dad was Big John. I'm a junior.
Yeah, you are a junior.
So when I hear somebody come in here and like, hey, I'm here to talk to Little John, I'm like ducking down, like, what the fuck's going on? Family's in town.
Why is it called a suffix? Is it only men? Because I saw a post on the chat the other day, and we were discussing this comment that was made, and it was she said this, and I said I don't think it's a she because it's a junior or a senior or something. I can't
Right.
remember Is that called a suffix or a prefix or suffix?
I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of rap music, Garrett.
Yeah, I think I'm completely off. Regardless of, do women, have you ever seen a woman with as a junior or anything like that? They don't. That's not how it works.
You know, there was a little girl. Her name was Ruth, and she was named after her mom. But it wasn't like in junior term. It was just like, okay, there's little Ruthie and big Ruthie daughters, which I found very interesting to me. I think there's like 5 girls. They all look the same, and there were some twins.
But passing down your middle name is really common. At least for my kids, it is.
This one here, I don't know. Like, my dad's John Allen Armstrong Sr. He goes by Al.
Yeah.
And I'm John Jr. John Allen Armstrong Jr.
But if your middle name was Allen, you wouldn't be a junior.
I wouldn't think so.
I mean, I think there's some sort of a structure to it.
Might be. I could have named my kid, he would have been the 3rd.
Yeah, wouldn't have been a junior.
Right.
And that would have been his legal title, right?
Right. Well, however you write it on there. Yeah,
Huh.
I guess.
I know that odd way to start today, guys, but that's
I wonder.
a
So,
question I guess I've been thinking about the last week because we discussed it.
my buddy Larry Parker, he brought me some papers here the other day. He's been going through a custody situation, and
Shout out to Larry. Sorry about your situation, partner.
but like all the paperwork I see, there's his kid's name's Nathan, but somehow or another, when they were in the hospital, there's a Z in front of his name. It's Z Nathan. And I'm like, how in the fuck did this slip through the fingers and the cracks? Like on his birth certificate, they fucked up somewhere. It's Nathan, but there's a Z in front of his name. So everything he does now, he has to have Z Nathan.
Maybe the Z is silent.
Or the N got lazy and
Or they
fell
call
over.
him Zathan.
Zathan.
The N silent at that point.
Zathan. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe his mom was like, in a state of kind of euphoria from the.
Is that something they bring into that you type in and she accidentally hit Z?
I don't
or
think
like that's
type
a
it. She was probably explaining to the doctor. She's like, his name's Nathan with a Z, and they're like, where you put a Z in Nathan? She's like, the very beginning, it's Nathan. She's just in the state.
yeah, maybe. Well, Larry
And
wasn't
they're
there,
like-
so that's a good possibility for
They're
sure.
like, are you sure that you want a Z in front of the name? She's like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, put a Z,
Let me turn my phone off real quick.
and we're gonna call him.
Forgot to do that. All right.
It is an odd history of the way, like, I guess,
Just last names in general.
yeah, historically, because of most of our names aren't.
He was like, oh, Garrett.
Armstrong probably, that
Jiu-jitsu
was
guy.
probably something.
So your last name probably back then would have been Garrett Jitsu.
I think but people as they came over and started, especially Europeans, when they started registering, sometimes their names would be quite long, and rather than spend the time to figure out this name, they'd give them either a surname or they would, like, it'd be a Smith or a Johnson. That's why those names are so popular.
Conrad Johnson. Makes sense now.
Exactly. I've got a very long line.
So, like, you can usually track stuff back to like your last name, and it usually means something totally different. Like, oh, that's how that happened, or like, but what was Armstrong? Like, go over and see John
Well, this would be
Armstrong. He's the strong guy over there. He builds
Yeah,
fence.
I think that's actually, now we had a science teacher when I was in school, and I remember this. You remember the
I had a
weirdest
science
things.
teacher too.
But he also he had all kinds of useless facts that were usually lies. Like, he just didn't tell the truth all the time. He like, he's a science teacher, and you're like, you need a little bit of, like, I'm gonna be going to college one of these days,
Right.
and you're fucking just telling these wild ass stories like that didn't happen. A snake never attacked you. The guy had polio, and he could walk on crutches. One leg completely didn't work. Half of one of his arms didn't work, like he just had function of his hand, and the other arm worked. And it was fucking jacked. I mean, he had fucking biceps and triceps and forearms like you wouldn't believe. Because he used that one arm since he got polio when he was 5.
So polio will make you not work part of your body. I don't know much about polio now. I think about it.
There's different strains of polio, but what they're talking about typically when they talk about someone that is extremely affected by polio, they call it polio paralysis. So you can get polio that'll make you sick, make your immune system weak, make you maybe have draw the calcium out of your bones to make them weaker, shit like that.
So you ever known anybody with polio?
That's this guy I'm describing right now. I know.
Oh.
That's it. Polio is not really a thing anymore. Some people attribute it to the polio vaccine, but some people say the vaccine there was no polio. It was fucking chemical that they were spraying on fields, killing weeds and shit.
So
Glyphosate, DDT.
I always wonder, like, if I'm gonna be okay, because I remember playing in cornfields as a kid, and I remember seeing the planes. I got sprayed with that shit. They're spraying the crops. Like, I've lived and smelled that and inhaled it.
This lady on a podcast was talking about when they were doing heavy dips in cows. They were dipping the cows, walking them through basically a pit of fucking chemical to keep the bugs off of them. They were getting their clothes completely saturated day after day. And I could be telling this a little bit wrong, so please, but this is the premise for it is at least accurate. They would get polio. They would become down with polio soon after that.
Okay.
And there was a big correlation with the chemicals that we're spraying on foods in which we're still ingesting. Glyphosate is in all of our bloodstreams.
All right.
So you're probably fine. I mean, you're no better off than
Anybody else that grew up that era for sure.
You know, yeah, you're going there. It's on all the fields. It's not killing the crops, but it'll kill all the weeds.
Well, it's kind of funny you brought this up because I was looking at it like, okay, you can get your dog sprayed with tick and flea medication and they're going to be fine for the season, but you need to do it like every year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was like, well, why the hell do I not take a chewable if I'm going to go morel hunting and I don't want to get bit by ticks? Well, all these chemicals, like the average lifespan of a dog is like what, 10 to 15 at best.
Depending. Yeah. There's some outliers, but yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Let's say that.
The bigger the dog, probably the less time.
Yes, definitely so.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because I was like, well, how come I just can't take a chewable like my dog does and then go out morel hunting? I don't have to worry about ticks or fleas.
Right. Okay.
But when I got to looking into this, it's one of those deals where long-term effects going to kill you. And the shit's probably not good for your dog. Vaccines and shit like that, but
they might not be good for us.
Some
would speculate that.
Well, no,
say it's not my idea.
When I was looking into it, it was like, well, dogs only. The long-term effects are gonna kill you. We live longer than 10, 15 years, so us doing that same medications, like it's gonna work, but we're gonna outlive our dogs, I guess, is how I kind of took it.
I guess the research can be done. You mean it's just common practice.
Right.
But you could probably do the research and find out that if dogs, they probably used to live longer. Before distemperament, heartworm, all that stuff. Like it's medication that's going into your body. Like I wonder, but this is kind of crazy too, because we're living at this day and age with all the cancer. We're still having, there's a lady over in the nursing home or assisted living care facility, long-term care facility, that she works at, that's 105. She had her birthday either last weekend or the weekend before that, and she's completely dependent. She needs help with things, but she gets up out of her chair by herself, gets up out of bed, dresses herself, does that. She's 105. And that's not abnormal, right? And we say with all we've talked about it before, processed foods, dyes, the medicines, vaccines, we're still average age of like 80 years old.
Yeah, if you live to be 80, you're doing good.
Now, go back to 1800s when people threw piss and shit out the window of their house in cities. They weren't living to 80. Bro.
No, definitely not. And foods were probably better back then.
Foods were better, but the modern medication and the ways that we have it now here's the trick to that though. Do you want to live with a poor quality of life, meaning you're in a wheelchair?
Quality or
having-
quantity?
That's what I'm saying. Which
Yeah.
one do you want? Because if it's a trade-off. If you get the longer life, you may have to have some really, really poor health and bad times during that long
Right.
life. If you want the short life, you were healthy up to this point. Like right now, me and you are in our late 40s. Say we've lived a pretty good life, but do we want to live another 20 years finding out that we've got something detrimental to our health?
Would you rather sit around waiting to die,
No,
or
just be done. Like
just be done?
I've had, I want to live long enough to get my girls completely out of the house.
That's kinda, I just want to be debt free. I'm trying to set everything up. I think that's a guy mentality. We want to make sure everybody's set up for. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Oh.
The fuck was that?
Evergy at its finest. So we had a power flicker here at the shop, folks, but phone's battery operated, so no problem there.
Yeah.
You may hear some things kicking off and on. We'll try to keep that to a minimum so it's nice and quiet in here. Anyway, that happens. But yeah, no, man, I think like say I would love to live to 55 at least. I know that seems crazy for somebody that's young, but I think, 10, 12 more years I can get my kids out of the house and my house is,
Paid off,
paid
and
for, and
everybody can just be kind of happy.
I make
figure
sure
things
that my
out.
wife and kids can keep going
Right.
without struggling too much. My wife would still be able to help the girls out with finances and stuff as they get out started in their life with college or whatever they're going to do, and she don't have to have a house payment where if she needs a car she'll have to spend that money on a car payment,
Right.
not have to work two jobs to
Right.
to survive. That's just and once I'm there, I mean I know that's asking a lot.
My house is almost paid off. And, being a business owner downtown, like, it's kind of interesting. Like, with the Bipolar Sunrise, I see mental illness every day just walking around. There's this kid. God, he's a great guy from what I know. And I like to think a lot of these guys get banned from places because they're homeless. I'm the type like, fuck yeah, come in, let me know. Give me a weekly update on how you're doing. And this kid needed a guitar. He sucks at guitar. And he's pretty popular on the Lyon County mugshots. He's in jail every few days, it seems like.
Is he too far gone to come back from that? Because I've been in some pretty shitty spots. in
When
my
I moved to
life.
Emporia, I was actually homeless. I've been there. People need to help themselves. He's a severe alcoholic, and I've talked to him a few times, and he tells me he's doing good, and he's slowed down on his drinking because of the conversation we had. And I like to think I made a little bit of an impact on his life. But I mean, he's also one of those guys like, well, you know how I am. I'll drag him in here. Like, hey, you're doing a podcast with us this morning. Here's $20. It'd be interesting taking these people that run around town, like, oh, great, here's $10. What's he gonna do with that $10? Or here's $20. What's he gonna do with that? It'd be just kind of a cool social experiment to see. All right, you have $100 to your name. What are you gonna do with it? And I really do think people can change. You have definitely changed over the years. And I've always been that guy that really, I want the best for people. And I know some of my friends, like, you see me hang out with some odd people.
I mean, that's putting it mildly, I would say.
But man, I'm just a guy that's always looking for the best in people, I guess. You go down that rabbit hole. I like to think eventually everybody will get out of it. But it's also the same thing, like, like, I had a situation like 6, 7 years ago. I brought a guy into my home trying to get his daughter back. And everything went good. But then it didn't go good. You think just because I hadn't seen this guy in a few years, Like, if I ain't seen you in 10 years, you call me up and like, hey, John, I'm coming through Emporia. Mind if I stay at your place? Yeah, you're sure. Come right on over. But I've grown up. Sometimes people haven't grown up. They're still stuck in this rut somehow. Does that make sense?
It's that's a hard one because you have empathy
Right.
and you was kind of like thinking, if you did it, how in the hell did they not do it?
It's like somehow they reassessed their situation like 10 years. Like, okay, like we're supposed to be grown ups now and you're still a kid.
But we're not really doing the story justice either without explaining that there were some underlying issues, like some comorbidities to the eventual death of this relationship, which would be child,
Right.
trying to get the child back, the circumstances behind trying to get that child back,
I'll do
the
anything for a
alcohol,
kid.
the extreme addiction.
Right.
And from both parties, like the mom was pretty wild,
Yeah.
dad did some wild stuff. But I think he's doing good now.
I guess when I grew
I
up.
mean, I really hope so. I talked to him, I told you about in Dillon's the other day. He started a business and whatnot, so best wishes to you. If you're watching, you know who you are.
Huh.
But anyway, regardless, it's a lot of everything we do. There's a lot of baggage tied to the decision we make. Often, do you know what I'm?
Oh, yeah.
mean?
Totally.
We take a life experience into something like you say, for example, I came this morning and you're like, I don't know, wild scenario. John's like, man, I found $150,000 in a suitcase last night, but I just was out on a walk and the light was flickering and I looked down and this guy shot himself and I can see the bag of money there. All we got to do is go get it. I just want you to go. You can fit through the window. I can't. We'll be in and out. It's early morning still.
I can fit through the window and you can't?
No, that's why you're bringing me along. Plus, you're a little bit, you're paranoid. You don't want to do it by yourself.
Right.
But you want that money, which is a crazy scenario. I don't think you or I would ever think like that. I think we'd call the cops right off the bat and be like, hey, there's a guy that just shot himself. There's a bag of money. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but get over here.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but my dad, like, we were on a trip like 8 years ago, and I've told you about the time I went into the dollar store when I was over here by.
Remind me, because
So
for the audience's sake.
It was right around Christmas. This is when Brennan Carver's, it was right when I moved over here. Went to the dollar store, it used to be over there.
On the corner.
Yes. I show up there one day and I see a wallet laying outside, like just on the ground. Of course, I open it up. There's probably close to $1,000 in there. Close her up. Well, I'm number one, I'm looking for an ID, so I know who it goes to. Walk into the dollar store and do my running around, and there's an old woman. She's got a bunch of stuff, and I see her digging through her purse, and she doesn't have her wallet. And I know it's her. I'm like, hey, you might need this. And she's like, oh man, thank you. Which is kind of weird. Like, I'm one of those guys, like, I want to be a good citizen. I'm tattooed, you're tattooed. And obviously, you'd think, like, seeing us, like, we're just going to take the money and run. I gave it to her, and she was very grateful that I gave her wallet back, and all her money and shit was in there. But, and I would have never taken that money. And I like to think I'm that guy. But then Dad said something to me, like on this road trip. He was like, hey, yeah, that was good that you did that, but why do you think you're above everybody else? You didn't take the money, this, here, and that. He's like, circumstances can really play a different there. If I had a hungry kid at home,
That money you wouldn't have even went back into
or
the dollar store.
you need to get medication for your kid, or you didn't have money to buy Christmas gifts, somebody's sick, like that changes things. Would I have taken the money then? If I was just new in town, didn't have anybody to turn to, like it can bring out a totally different animal in you.
Within hours,
Yeah,
within seconds of finding out that your kid has something that you can't get for them and they're gonna die from it. There's movies been made
oh, definitely
about
so.
it, and you can really relate if you have kids, or maybe even if you don't. But if you have kids, it's so easy to relate and feel the empathy that that actor is trying to perform.
I would have felt bad about it, but you have to do what's best for your kid.
Yeah, and yeah,
So the person that I am not, all of a sudden dad put it in a situational deal like that. I'm like, fuck, dude, I never even thought of that. Like, maybe I would have taken the money if I needed it. If I was new in town, didn't have anybody to turn to, and found a wallet, and I'm needing $1,000, would I still have given the wallet back to the lady?
man, because you like to think that you are
Right?
that person that would give the wallet. I many times have I found or saw somebody drop something out of their pocket. Jerem Smith, when he first came to town, when he was opening his business, I was riding my motorcycle and found his phone on the side of the road.
Motorcycle. You mean the moped?
No, my fucking
All
Buell.
right, we'll go with that.
So yes, my moped. So I pull over, pick up the phone, and start going through the contacts to find out. Well, mom, because I know mom's going to be in somebody's phone.
Right.
And I called her immediately. I was like, hey, I said, this is weird, but I just found this, I'm assuming your son's phone on the side of the road, and I would like to get it back to, him or her, I guess. And she's like, oh, and I think Jerem had already called her because I'm sitting on my motorcycle talking on his phone, and he's walking down the street. So I think it was his personal phone, but he had his business phone. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but he's walking down the street saying, "Hey, did you find a phone?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone with your mom right now." And I was like, "Okay." Jeremy just showed back up because she had told me his name in the exchange. I'm like, "Okay," but and that's pretty mild. It's a phone. But
Right.
I stopped my bike. I was doing something. I stopped what I was doing. I'm not trying to seek virtue here in telling the story. I'm just using this as an example. Went out of my way to make sure, at least try to get his phone back to him.
Right.
Did I do that for some kind of,
Reward.
the reward might have been just somebody saying thank you,
Right.
and proving that this tattooed up guy is actually
Right.
a good person. Like trying to confirm with myself that I do the right thing. And so I don't feel like I'm what people oftentimes view me as.
It's like when I'm going through Lyon County mugshots and I see these guys with tattoos on their face. I'm like, motherfucker, it's people like you that give people like me a bad name. We can be tattooed nice. Like,
But everybody that talks to you and everybody that talks to me, and we've done this so many times, we're out in public, and there's a draw
yeah,
to the way you're a big dude, beard, tattoos. I'm a big dude that's bald, and for some reason people think I'm a white supremacist right off the bat.
oh yeah, you have to have a car with a machine gun on top to be
Yeah.
real white supremacy.
Yeah. But we've done it many times to where next thing you know, we're talking to everybody in there. Hey, there's John, there's Garrett, man, these guys are cool. And it had nothing to do, but the first glance when we walk in is like, oh,
Well, I feel the
okay.
man quota every time I walk in somewhere.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
shit, this dude, beard. I see a guy with littler beards like quiver. I'm like, oh fuck.
Look
There's
at
a guy
this.
with a bigger beard.
Their beard shrinks up like it's cold outside.
Yeah, definitely so. They're like, hey, I'm kind of intimidating if you didn't know me.
Yeah.
Just like you. You're pretty intimidating.
If you don't know who I am.
You don't know who you are. But yeah, you can't just be 6'4", 250 pounds walking around. And I still to this day have never been in a fight.
There's a guy that would say you don't know a lot about yourself.
I don't.
There's a whole documentary on it called Fight Club about you don't know really know yourself until you've been in a fight.
Right. Do you think I'd be all right in a fight?
No. No, who are you fighting?
Well, I'm guessing they're probably going to be smaller than me.
Yeah, there's a good chance of it unless Sasquatch gets pissed off at you for some reason.
Fuck that tubby bitch. Sasquatch, fuck you.
So I don't know. I think he'd be fine in a fight if it was an equal playing ground. It's another guy that's in his mid-40s, not really in the best of shape.
Right.
Don't have much fight IQ because you've never had an altercation. You're gonna have a big adrenaline dump more than likely. You're gonna be tired after 45 seconds, 90 seconds at the most of trying to move around.
So
it's tough.
A local Emporium died, and I ended up going to like this party. This is a funny story, kind of. I don't even know if I've even told you about this. There's this feller. I see him and his girlfriend going to the bathroom. And then, like, I kind of ignore it. And then next thing I know, I look over and there's like a line at the guy's bathroom at this place. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here?
I think I know where this is going.
Of course, I move everybody aside. I go in there and I hear this guy in the stall. I'm like, is somebody getting molested in there? Just kind of being like trying to lighten the mood. Like trying to figure out where these two people went. And this guy's like, why would you say that? I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, all right. I'm here to go take a piss. I just butted everybody out of the way. Sitting here with my junk in my hand, getting ready to take a piss. And the fucking stall opens up. All aggressive like. I'm like, oh, geez, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And I look over and down. And this guy, he's probably as tall as me, if not taller, also comes out and is looking down. And we kind of both look up like, oh, fuck, we're big guys. His eyes lock with mine, I lock with his. And I'm like, oh, man, please. I'm kind of like, please don't hit me. I got my dick in my hand. I'm trying to take a piss here. Like, I'm just trying to lighten the mood. And I remember seeing this guy, and we locked eyes. And I was like, oh, fuck, dude, he's big. I'm big.
He locked eyes with your penis first, though. Almost guaranteed.
Maybe. And I'm like, Jesus. And I remember kind of pushing the guy. Like, not physically. Like, what the fuck you gonna do about this, you know? And why you being such a dick? Like, everybody's trying to use the bathroom. You're in here with your girlfriend in a stall. He was going through a moment of, he just lost his good friend. And kind of fed off this, but he was not a big fan of me at all. And I run into him like a couple weeks later at another bar. And I'm like, hey, dude, can I buy you a drink? He's like, no, fuck you, kind of thing. I'm like, seriously, dude? Like, we're going here. And we finally got to talking, and I did get to buy him a drink. And we're buddies now. When I see him out in public, I'm like, hey, how's it going? He was having a bad day. I get it. And we got to tell him the story. He's like, yeah, dude, when I heard you come in the bathroom and ask if somebody was getting molested, he's like, I did not know I was going to be dealing with a big guy. I was like, how do you think I felt? I had my dick in my hand. Like, I look over and we're like both looking down, both look up, and we lock eyes. And it's like, holy shit, like, he's a big fella. I didn't want to fight him. He didn't want to fight me. We've probably never been in a fight, neither one of us. And it's been kind of funny, like I see him regularly now, and I wouldn't say we're good friends or anything like that, but he seemed like an all right feller. But yeah, it was just so odd. Like, when you're my size, you just assume everybody around you is going to be smaller. And when I seen that guy come up and he was big, I got a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean,
but most of these big guys, nobody really wants to fight.
No, I don't think most people in general
We
want to fight.
talk some shit a little bit.
Even fighters don't want to fight.
They like the sport of it.
Well, it's their training. There's a goal. You've got an opponent. You guys have made an agreement that you're going to, fight each other in whatever aspect that is, and there's a rule set.
Right.
It's like nobody wants to kill somebody by accident on the street. Nobody wants to get killed.
No, definitely not.
And if you're getting into a fight at a bar or on the street, dude, like at that point in time, like there's probably nothing positive that could come from that experience for any party involved.
Are you one of those guys that sit around thinking like, all right, I've had all this training, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'm ready for a situation. I mean, do you have play scenarios through your head like you're sitting at a restaurant, some guy comes in to rob the place, and you're like, I'm gonna be able to save the day?
Fuck no, has he got a gun?
Maybe, maybe not.
No.
No.
Not trying. No. I don't want to fight.
Right?
That for me would be the last thing I want to do.
But I mean, do these scenarios ever roll through your head? Because I know they roll through my head. Like I go into like a bar or something, somebody gets out of control. I'm all of a sudden looking for weapons. Like the cue sticks are over here. There's a hammer over here.
When I'm out in public, I'm usually with my wife and kids.
Right? You got to protect them.
The only thing is, when like if we go someplace, I think of where they're sitting, and if something happened, how I could get in front of them or move them to the door real quick.
Right.
But besides that, like, no, I don't. If somebody wanted to start an altercation with me, I'm going to try to get out of the situation.
Right.
I'm going to try to leave. I want to, if my wife and kids are with me, I want to get them behind me.
Right.
If we're in a restaurant and somebody's raising hell, and we will leave the restaurant.
Are they type that's always watching the door? Like,
usually, unfortunately, I kind of keep an eye on.
right. I like
who's
sitting where
going
I can
in and out of
see
the
everything.
bathroom.
The more I can see, the better.
I don't know why I do that, but yeah, Katie even knows at this point in our marriage, she sits away from the door. She sits with her back to the door so that I can sit with my dog. I always have been that way, which is weird
I
behavior.
think it's in our Dina.
Could be. But I want to just kind of see who's in the place usually.
Right.
I want to kind of put my eyes on everybody and then see how you can get out and if there's any way.
That must just be a guy thing. Like me and April are the same ways. I always put her, like when we're walking down the street, I'm always on the outside.
Try to push her out of the way in case a car comes.
Yeah, and it probably never happened, but you prepare for shit like that. It's never happened in my lifetime.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's never happened.
Yeah. And if it does, it's probably so fast. But I think genuinely, historically, we'll say, now, I'm not going to say this in 2025 because it would offend people, but historically, women look to men for protection and provision, right? To be provided for and to be protected. And men look to women as someone that can raise their kids and let them, I guess, if you have a good woman, in my opinion, she's going to do things that will help you achieve your goals to where you can provide better for the rest of them.
Right.
And I mean, it should be like the nuclear family situation. I understand, yeah, there were some outliers. There were some guys that were beating their wives and guys looking the other way. But on the whole, I think the nuclear family provided generations of success within society, because you have to have a little bit of hard, which is the dad, and you have to have a little bit of soft, which is the mom. Somebody's kind of got to run the household, and typically it would be a guy, because we make the hard decisions. I'm running things because if you want me to run things only when somebody breaks into the house in the middle of the night and me to protect the family, I'm not just putting my nuts on the line for all of you guys in the middle of the night on a Sunday night. I'm doing it every single day of my life, and there's other things are going to go along with that. I'm going to warn you. I want to go to the South Mall in Wichita, and I'm going to take the girls with me. Like, well, no, you're not. But here's why. That's the worst part of Wichita. What are you guys looking for even? You're just, you know what I mean?
Right.
This type of scenario, I'm guiding my wife and my children through my life experience and through what's, how I've collected my moral values. I'm trying to pass that along to them through my bad experiences, through the mistakes that I've made.
Well, some of them aren't even bad experiences. It's just being proactive on a situation.
Sure. I can agree with that.
Which is kind of weird because I've never been jumped at that mall. It's like I've never been intimidated at that mall, but you hear stories. It's like, all right, I'm a big guy. There's probably a reason I haven't had problems there. Now my 17-year-old daughter going there might have a totally different experience.
Well, if most people see me walking down the street.
Be like, man, that guy's ugly.
That's probably their first thought, but then after that, they think he could take care of himself. I'm in shape. Before people even know that I do jujitsu, they're a little bit like, oh man, this guy might do something.
Especially for your age. You look really good for your age.
Oh, thank you. I might do something. They may be making scenarios in their head, but more than likely they're just thinking he could rob me, he could kick my ass, like I could just blow up and fucking go, you.
Well, anytime we do anything, I always warn everybody, this is how my buddy Garrett acts. So
Man, that's dang cool. But yeah, so I already have that. But then you put on top of it that I know jujitsu. That changes. Yes, people say things about it. Oh man, not to change the subject, but this is kind of a cool story.
changing the subject.
It's not really changing the subject. I was at the farmer's market. Katie and I walked uptown yesterday and went through the farmer's market.
You stop by here.
Stopped by here and talked to you. And I didn't tell you, but as we were leaving the farmer's market right before we came here, this old woman, say like 70s, stops me and Katie at the farmer's market and starts asking about my tattoos.
They hurt?
No, she didn't say that. She actually asked some really legitimate questions. A little bit uncomfortable. I had no idea who she was, and she kept asking questions. This was like a 5-minute conversation. But she said, how? She said, excuse me. I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, do you pick your tattoos? Or do you just let your artist pick them? Or how do you decide on all those? And I said, man, I said, honestly, usually I go in with this tattoo and I say, I really want to do this. It looks badass. And my tattoo artist says, that looks stupid. We're not doing that. We're going to do something cool. And then we do that. I said, so no, I said, I do come up with ideas and there's things that I do want and I want them away. But for the most part, it's just like, I'm going to get tattooed and we're going to do something. It'll look cool if John puts his
spin on
it.
Yeah.
And if you've already spun the whole thing, it even looks better. To me.
Right.
Because that's what I wanted already. And you know by now
I
what
know
I'm
you
looking
do,
for in a tattoo. For sure. But then she goes on, the pain, she said, but this is the way she framed it. She said, how do you do with tattoos, having to sit there for that time? And she said, it has to be painful. She said, you don't sleep, do you? And I'm like, dude, like what? Like everybody must think these things. Because I always get the same kind of questions. And I said, no. I said, anybody that says that they sleep during tattoos, I think is a liar.
Joe Rogan.
Did Joe Rogan say he slept through a tattoo?
Yeah, you told me that once. I didn't see the episode, but
I don't remember that.
I've been tattooing for a fuckload of years, and I've never, I've seen people relax, kind of close their eyes, and just kind of get in the zone. But, I've been tattooing since '94, and I can count on one hand people that have actually fallen asleep. Tony Bag of Donuts was one of those.
But he passed out.
He passed out.
There was no
drunk as fuck.
Falling asleep with that. He was wasted. I mean, he'd been drinking. He was waiting for me to get off work that day.
Right, I remember.
He was waiting for me in my car with a bottle of vodka, sitting in the parking lot so we could party when I got off work.
I mean, one of you guys passed out on stage next to the drums, and I remember, I think Tony Bag of Donuts was passed out, and you're hitting the kick drum right next to his head.
Yes, golly. That's weird. I just got a flash of that. I was strongly inebriated, as it'd be an understatement. But Tony was out like a light. I mean, he just started snoring.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, this lady, she was really nice, kept continuing the conversation, even though I was fine to talk to her. We didn't have anything going on. But it was just, it's strange asking.
I don't know. Woman have any tattoos, you think?
I don't think so. Nothing visible. I mean, she was pretty up there, dude, in age. Like, she was walking fine.
Do you think people just regret not getting tattooed at that age? Man, I always wanted it, but my husband was against it. And I'll see some of it, like, I always wanted a tattoo, and there's like an old woman getting her first tattoo, but she's like, yeah, I couldn't ever get one because my husband didn't like him, and then he passed away or divorced. But it's just one of those, like, it's an odd job being a tattoo artist.
Yeah, I could imagine.
You get people from all over, like all of a sudden, like, well, last weekend went on this float trip, which turned into a camping trip because the water got too high. But all of a sudden, like, it clicked like a fucking light bulb. Like, wait, you're the tattoo guy? And all of a sudden, I had like 6 people, like, oh, can I ask you a question? It was like everybody just lit up, and I was like, God damn it! Like, all right, I'm gonna let you guys one question. I'll answer. Line up. I'll do this.
You have to work on your weekend off.
I don't really call it work. And one of the guys was Mormon, and it was just interesting talking to these people. Of course, I go to these trips like, oh, this is my friend Nick. It's nice being introduced. Like, hey, this is my buddy John. Like, if we were to go out, but I always find myself in these situations like, oh, this is my tattoo artist. I'm like, I thought we were friends, but all right. But it's kind of weird just getting thrown into that whole deal sometimes. Like, I'm more than a tattoo artist. I'm friends with this guy here for many years. Like,
Yeah, it's weird.
you
For
wouldn't
me
be like,
to-
oh, this is my buddy. He's a doctor.
For me to describe you as my tattoo artist would be, I don't know. That's how we met, but that's not where it went. Even
That's
though I
not
have
how
a
I
shitload
met
of
you,
tattoos.
though.
Yeah,
I knew you
it's
for
like-
years before you knew me. You're just a gay guy working at Tyson. I was like, all right.
I got cured. I'm straight now.
It's the
Uh,
month.
Man, yeah, because I went to your house nervous. Can we say that on? Can we say it on here?
Yeah, nervous.
No, I'm talking about going to your house to get tattooed.
Oh, yeah, you can say that.
So I was going to his house. I met a guy that had this tattoo on his hand, and I thought it was badass. And he said, "This guy's cheap." And I'm like, "I'm looking to get a cheap tattoo." So we're in business. I was young and went there. And then you're like, as I'm leaving, we do the tattoo, talk. And you're like, "Hey, man, we don't have to just do tattoos. You could bring a 6-pack over or whatever, and we can hang out." And I was like, "That's weird. I'm out of here, man. I just was looking for a tattoo. We're not gonna be hanging out." And then it was like a couple days later, we were hanging out. I brought some beer over, and we just started fucking. From then on, we were hanging.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, wild. Because we've done a lot of shit, dude. In the last 20 years, we've done a lot of stuff.
Well, there was a time we were hanging out every single day for years.
Yeah, for years.
For beers.
Beers and years.
Right, dude, a
For
lot of
sure.
it.
We drank a lot of beer.
But I remember you going through the transitioning into like, you're going to lift weights and get big. I'm like, all right. And you kind of slow down on your drinking. And as well as like, one thing I've really appreciated about our relationship, like, it always takes off right where it left off. But I knew I wasn't always good for you. So sometimes I just take a step back and let you figure your shit out. And it's like when Garrett's ready, he'll come back around, or vice versa.
But on the other hand, you've been key to a lot of times in my life I needed you in a way
Right.
that you can provide. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
have a way of sometimes talking me off of a ledge to where other people don't really get it.
Right.
It's,
Or maybe you're just not willing to listen to those other people.
Yeah, for whatever reason that is. So there's been
Yeah.
times where I needed you to not be there, but probably I would say, like, percentage wise, there was more times that I needed you to be there than not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for you guys that don't understand, it's because John drinks and that's what he does.
I'm
And
good at it.
he's the party guy. I hate to admit it, but usually he's the party guy. And if I'm hanging with the party guy and I'm doing the stunts, we both got to get in the right frame of mind, and that'd be by getting wasted. And if I'm trying to do a sport, I can't drink too, because I do both to the extreme.
Oh, everything to the extreme.
So-
you do. I'm just kind of, I feel like I'm just kind of floating.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of wherever I need to be. Like,
You're
I'm like
in a safe
everybody's
spot.
babysitter, it
And
seems
I'm at
like.
the top of the wave and just lost my fucking surfboard.
Right.
You're like, hey, what are you doing up there? Fucking get down here. Like, it's going to crash. And I'm like, no, it won't. Done this a million times. Crash. You know. Uh, I think I've transitioned out of most of that type of stuff too, of just getting to a place where I'm a lot more even. Some from, I guess, like we said, that we've been talking about, the baggage that I carry is a lot of times guilt and being so aware of my tendency to make bad decisions that it keeps me
What
in
drives
that
us
safer
is you
zone.
see people like younger version of you, and I've always stayed pretty safe. Like I'm always a guy that's thinking, preparing, and I'm thinking like way ahead. Like how's this outcome gonna affect me later on? You're the type who's just like, fuck it, we're doing this right here, right now, and not thinking repercussion of it at all.
Never even entered my mind.
Right,
Just full throttle.
right. Balls to the wall.
Yeah, I've never tested the water before I jumped in on very many things. Let's
Right.
just say. But I'm getting better at it as time
You
goes
are.
by.
And, you know, for a long time, I thought you were just a lost cause. I remember having a conversation with you, but 15 years ago.
But that wasn't that long ago.
It's at the old shop. I've been here for 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
you're
guess so, yeah.
you're a lost cause. Like, you shouldn't be dating anybody. You're popping kids out left and right.
And in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things like you're like, I guess I'm really proud of you. There's a version of yourself that even me as your friend was trying to shoot you into a direction, but you totally did flip your life around 180, and I'm really proud of you on that one because I really did. You know, you're the type of person I didn't want. Like I liked you, but if my sister said, "Hey, I'm dating Garrett," I'm like, "Fuck that guy!" Like he's my best friend, but the dude's a piece of shit. Like
Yeah.
nothing good's gonna come from this ever. You're gonna get knocked up, have 3 kids, and he's gonna be with somebody else, kind of deal. And
Yeah.
so the way that I seen you, kind of like you and Katie together, is amazing. Your daughters, I fucking love it. Like, but that's also part of me. I always try seeing the good in people, and although it's always been kind of weird, like somehow I've surrounded myself with people that need the help. Like Kerry Moyer said this to me here a while back, and he, like Larry Parker was hanging around, Ryan Bird was hanging around. I have people hanging around that look up to me,
Mm-hmm.
and he said something to the effect of, "You need to surround yourself with people you look up to." And I was like, "Well, I totally 100% agree on this. But what happens when you get stuck in a rut where I am the person everybody looks up to? Just stuck. Like I am that stone in a lot of people's lives, it seems like."
Yeah. Well, I don't know because this is the thing that we've been talking about too. Everybody's personality is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So what may work for somebody, what may work for Carrie as far as hanging around with people that you look up to, maybe that's not true for every individual.
All right. But I want to hang out with people that I look up to.
Nobody says you can't.
Yeah. I mean, my circle's pretty small.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that comes from like when I moved to Emporia, this was the city. I come from small towns. You had to hang out with Jeff down the street because he's the only one your age in town. And if you guys get in a fight, we're not doing a sleepover. And I don't have a car where I can get to the town over.
Yeah.
And you grew up in a small town too, kind of similar. Like you become more family than you do like friends. Like you're gonna have your fights. And I always just found that, you know, the older I've gotten, like I'm glad I'm here in Emporia. We're like 25,000 people. My kids have options.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you have to hang out with this guy. And a lot of those people took wrong paths, got into drugs, alcohol, locked up, dead. I don't know, the whole situation's kind of odd because you know these people and you have to know them. It's not like I had a choice to go hang out with Garrett. He's from Sabetha
Mm-hmm.
or wherever. Finally, when you get your little bit of freedom and you have your own car, it kind of opens the door up a little bit.
Don't you think that might be true even in a city the size of New York,
New
New York, because they have the five boroughs, but even within those boroughs, there's sections. Like, imagine a section of New York being the size of Emporia. There's a million of Emporias that fit inside New York City.
Right.
There's so many people. You're in a neighborhood, you probably have that same type of family oriented, you've got this group which is in a 25 block radius, let's say, for example, and that's kind of where my cousin lives down here, my aunt lives over here because you were all born there. Some of you got away, like not all of our family lives in Emporia,
Right.
but the majority, half will be here. My kids, probably maybe they'll all stay here. Maybe one of them moves with her husband to Washington. You know what I mean? Like, so then their family's going to be a little bit of a different dynamic, and I don't know. It's probably not to the extreme because in New York City, you can't just go to about anybody's house
Right.
and knock on the door and say, hey, and they recognize you. And they're like, yeah, we'd call your dad, or whatever. But you could do that in a small town. When I was a kid, there's nobody's house you couldn't go to.
Right. Doors
If
weren't
it was
even
an
unlocked.
old lady that you didn't know and she didn't recognize you, you just tell her who your grandma was, and
Janice?
you're
you're
her
her
grandson.
grandson. You've sure grown up. I remember when you were a baby.
yeah. We used to take you guys bread on Saturdays.
Right.
And your mom would come and help us at the church, that type of stuff. So the dynamic would be a little bit different, but I think we're just all human.
Well, there's choices when you're in if you're talking about a 25 block radius, there's a lot of kids your age.
Yeah.
When you're in Fairview, fucking Kansas, there's only 2 people your age-ish.
And there's not even a 25 block radius.
No, there's 4 block by 5 block, 4 block by 5 block, I think's Fairview.
So it's like a 6,000 square feet apartment building
Well,
in town.
population 200 people, and there might be half a dozen. I was hanging out with kids that were a couple of years younger than me and a couple of years older than me that I didn't even go to school with, because that's just who we were. We all meet up at the park.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, all right, I guess I'm hanging out with this guy. I may not even like the guy, or normally would gravitate towards that guy, but he's the only one in town that's close to my age. So, we're gonna go rob some cars tonight? All right, fuck it, I'm on board.
Yeah.
Bad decisions.
I saw a cool kid the other day. This is really neat. I don't know if they were brothers. One of them, the kid looked Hispanic, and the other kid was white as a ghost. But we were pulling through the Jones Park to go check a lift station. This kid's getting leaves and stuff out of the overfill of the pond. I'm like, he's looking for worms. We drive up through the park to the top, go around in that top pond. That the chubby Hispanic kid was over there baiting another kid's hook with the worms that he'd just gotten out of the ditch over there, and then they were fishing. He was big. He was probably 11, maybe 13. Get that age, just going to be a teenager. And then the other kid was probably 8 years old, maybe 10. And so they were pretty close in age, but not quite. And he was baiting his hook up for him. They were fishing. I really like to see that, because that is pretty rare. Those kids weren't on their phone the whole time, which we weren't there interacting with them forever, but we didn't interact with them at all. But seeing the situation go down, it was just cool that they didn't have their phones. They were 2 kids, buddies. You could clearly see that guy went and found worms and took them to his buddy while he was up there fishing. Probably was trying to use some kind of a spinner, and that wasn't working. So he's like, let's try some worms,
Just problem solving.
Yeah, well, that's when you're out there as a kid, like, you're problem solving. Not that you can't problem solve something on a game or something on your phone, but it's not the same as that life experience of,
Right.
I'm tired of having my buddy bait my hook. I either got to get over my fear of worms, or I got to figure out how to get it on there to stay. That was fun shit when I was a kid. I love fishing still, but man,
I
it was
did
so much fun.
fishing. I kind of got burnt out for years. I fished every fucking weekend.
Yeah, I fished
And it was
every
all
single
night.
day, all the time.
It was an all night thing. It was always like, it was like Friday, get off of school. Dude, it was fucking crazy, because even if we weren't fishing, we were camping. It was like that was kind of your independence as a kid.
There was no
Like my parents
phones.
wouldn't see me till Sunday. I come home, take a shower, take a nap, up for school on Monday, and yeah, nobody knew where the fuck I was at. And sometimes we'd say we're going fishing, camping. We might end up at a party in Seneca.
Yeah.
So my
There's a
parents
lot
wouldn't
of
see
that
me for
happening.
a few days, and it's like, all right, like
That's kind of a crummy transition too, because you go from camping and fishing and that fulfilling every fucking need or want that you could possibly have, to where you're starting to become a closer to being a man, 16, 17, and now
Yeah.
the camping trips turn into beer drinking trips.
what's it was? Everybody'd sneak cigarettes or
Smoking
fucking
cigarettes. But then
chew.
you had everything.
Yeah,
You had it all, and if we were going, if we were going camping today, you'd bring some beer. But I just enjoy the camping. It's just you enjoy the same thing as a kid. Then you think you know everything for a period of time, and then you go back to that camping as a kid
Yeah.
situation. You know that was the best.
God.
But there's that like a 20, 30 year span in your life where you're just fucking stupid. I know that sounds odd because people are a lot of times making their way, but you're making the dumbest decisions with your money, buying things that you don't need. A lot of it's keeping up with the Joneses these days. Like, oh, they just got a new truck. How can they afford that? We can afford that.
I need a
That's-
truck and a boat. I'm
and a
gonna show
boat.
them.
Yeah, man, my neighbor's got this.
Now I'm in debt.
That's strange behavior to me.
You know I don't do that.
Like you know the Honda I drive.
Yeah, you know the car I drive.
It's just the way it
2005
is.
Toyota is what I drive. My daily driver.
If my neighbor had went out and bought a new truck and went out and bought a new car, I'd be like, okay, well, that's good for them. Like they must be able to afford it. Cool. I'm not buying anything new. I don't care what you have. This has been serving me well through the best times of my life, through the worst times of my life, and through the best times of my life. All these, all this baggage I carry with me makes me know for a fact I never want to have another brand new vehicle payment. That is a fucking chain on your
Insurance,
ankle.
fucking
Insurance and a car payment.
taxes,
is ridiculous.
Yeah, I
It
don't see it.
kills you.
Well, look at me. I'm an artist. I'm like, yeah, I could go spend 60 grand on a vehicle, but I could pump 10 grand into that and have a badass fucking vehicle. Like,
Yeah, it just doesn't.
that's just you. And my vehicles always stand out. You can see me coming from a mile away, like, and know that's John. He's got kayak strapped to the top of his 4Runner. I know that's him. He's got a 50 cal machine gun strapped to the top of a Corvette. That's John from a mile away. You know it. Katie see me yesterday dicking off.
He's heard you. John was hot rodding. If the police are watching, that was him in
It
that
was
Corvette,
not me.
spinning the
Could've been-
tires.
Could have been anybody in a Corvette.
No, you just said it. Everybody recognized you from a mile away. We all know it was you.
But okay.
I'm going to the cops over it. I'm still upset. I'm dropping a dime. Remember when people used to say that all the time?
Oh yeah. What's it now?
Snitching. Yo, I found out. I was at the gym the other day. There's this kid. He's like 29, 30. So he's at that age where he's still a little,
Cocky.
he's got the young shit going on,
Yeah.
but he's also starting to understand. And he told me we we're always bullshitting and making up stories and stuff, to talk about what we would do, like if we was, and he's a weightlifter. He doesn't do jiu-jitsu. He's just lifting weights and whatnot. And anyway, to make a long story short, we got to talking about the Sasquatch videos, this AI Sasquatch stuff, and we made a scenario where Sasquatch was beating his meat, and he said the kids call it goonin now.
What's goonin?
Jerking off.
It's called goonin.
Now, you're gonna have to add that into your vocabulary. I was out gooning. My wife walked in and I was like, "Hey,
Copy goonin.
I'm gooning in here, girl."
Hey, you guys.
No, that's Goonies. That's where you jack off and make a face and say, "Hey, you guys," while
With your buddies.
Yeah, you could be with your buddies, like it's a solo or a joint game. But there's a lot of words that are different. Like I thought, kind of awesome and radical was gonna be.
Gnarly, dude.
Yeah, I thought that would probably
Bogus.
be rad. That's gonna last.
Right.
But there's a new slang. There's a new vernacular that people use, and kids. And my kids say bruh, bruh. They're girls. Like, you're girls. You're calling each other bro and bruh. Like, the weird bro was like, hey bro, like you've never heard a girl in the 90s say, hey bro.
No.
But girls all say bro now, or bruh. I'm like, why? You guys are sisters. You're both girls. Bros. Is it bros before hoes here, or what's going on?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of an odd one to change. But that just goes along with everything. It got wore out, or people grew up and grew out of it. I still say awesome. Bodacious is what I usually say when I really
Tubular, dude.
That is bodacious.
Tubular.
I bet the surfers were fucking furious whenever, because they're like, I'm out here on the beach about to do this fucking radical wave, dude. It's real tubular. Somebody hears them talking, and they go back to
Kansas,
and they're like, hey man, what are you doing this weekend? Oh man, it was tubular, dude. And then it spreads back to California, and they're like, what the fuck? They're saying that this in Kansas?
They don't know what tubular even means.
But with the internet now, it's like something that's real crafty. Somebody says something crafty, then the whole fucking world's saying it. I guess that's true too. Even with like the movie, what's up? Everybody for a while would go, what's up? When they'd see you. That was pretty annoying. I'm glad that trend died down. What's up?
I'm bringing it back.
What's up? Then you'd see people really get into it. They'd see each other, and maybe they'd watch the movie together. What's up? And they're just back and forth, what's up, and each other.
It's kind of funny how things. I'm even like commercials. Remember the Budweiser frogs?
Bud.
Wise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just all of a sudden gone. Like.
But we all remember it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I watch like cartoons.
New York City.
New York City.
Yeah.
Get a rope. Yeah.
You can't say that anymore.
Get a rope.
Yeah. It's racist.
I suppose so.
But if you think about it, back then it was still pretty. At least it was geographist. New York City. They're gonna hang this guy because he made some pecani sauce in New York.
Remember the Tombstone pizza commercials? What would you like on your tombstone?
Yeah.
It's like pepperoni.
Yeah. The funniest commercial I can remember, and I don't know why, as a kid, it wouldn't be funny to me now, but as a kid, I laughed my ass off. I think it was a board game. It was during the Super Bowl when they aired it the first time, but then it just was always played because it was so funny.
Sorry
or Monopoly, some board game that people got so immersed in that they forgot to take the dog out, and he's in the window holding himself. And his eyes, every time, like they're still playing, and it goes back to him, and his eyes are getting bigger and bigger because he's got to pee. But they were I fucking thought that dog was hilarious, man. I loved when that commercial would come on, laugh my ass off. I thought it was fucking somebody was a genius that thought of that. It was so funny.
You remember the hamburger helper hand?
Yeah.
San Francisco treat.
Got to be careful what I say I remember nowadays.
Yeah.
Because the Mandela effect, we talked about it last weekend.
You know, I watched about an hour of the podcast. I didn't get into that, but yeah, that's the whole Mandela effect. That's a weird one to me. Are we all just on different timelines? Some of us on the same timeline?
I don't want to get all scientific on you, but if you had a watch and your child had a watch the day it was born, your child would be older than you because their time moves faster. I saw somebody say that, something to that effect. I might have got it screwed up, but
You gotta walk with a spoon before you can run with a shovel, Garrett.
I think that's really, I like philosophy and things like that, but
How much stuff do we just not know as a kid?
I think as an adult,
Right?
what we don't know, there's so much that we don't know, but we're arrogant people. Humans have really big egos, and I think, well, we've talked about it most of the morning on how some people seem to be, your ego's not as large. Like, you don't need as much, like you don't need the reward, you don't need so you get it from somewhere else. ego's a really big way that runs people's lives. Just like trying to get a car that's nicer than your neighbor's or just as nice as your neighbor's. You move into a neighborhood, your lawn's just everybody's trying to get the greenest lawn. Like in the end, it doesn't matter. We only have like 8 years,
Right.
so you want to waste your time seeing if you're measuring yourself against someone else. Not that I haven't been there. Not that I couldn't do that now, but I'm very aware of how I don't want to measure myself against other people, and I don't want people to measure themselves against me. I want people to live their lives in as long as they're doing it and not harming others in whatever fashion that they want. But I didn't always want that.
Right.
Experience changes you, not time. I mean, time is inevitable, but experience can be what you want it to be. Like you can make something out of an experience bad, or you can make it good.
Yeah, sometimes even if it's bad, the experience itself is a learning opportunity to change things.
And maybe it's bad, but for someone like myself, I don't take things at face value, and you have to prove it to me.
Right.
I don't believe you. My parents know that's going to get you killed. Oh, you just don't want me to have fun. That's my mindset a lot of times. I need to know. Like all the stuff you hear in the news, some of it's pretty outlandish and wild. And I'm just like, oh, give me a break. I can see right through this. But some of it's fairly compelling. And you get to see what you get to see. And that's it. These riots going on, and not riots, mostly peaceful protests, whatever the hell is going on, because I don't know.
Right.
Are we seeing what's going on? Are we seeing what's really going on there? Unless you're on that street, on the ground.
They're putting things out there to see what's going on to manipulate you through the media.
Probably so. And that's what's unfortunate. It's very hard to navigate are you right?
Is racism really a thing?
Probably really, really small factions of people. I mean, it's a
How many
fractional
racist
number.
people have you met in your life? They're 100% just like, I'm going to go kill a black person today.
There was a group of them in Melbourne that one night.
You need to be careful where you wear your tattoos.
Yeah.
But all shit aside, like, funny's funny. There's always going to be jokes. I mean, even if you go back and look at, like, Blazing Saddles, a movie that can't be done anymore, it was Mel Brooks' finest work. But I think everybody appreciates that movie. I don't care what end of the spectrum you're on, but it seems like...
Do you think it was a racist movie, or if it was a movie that bridged gaps? Did it bridge more gaps?
I wouldn't say it's a racist movie.
Depending on the time. At that time, was it only allowed to be out because people weren't outspoken and people were actually offended by it?
I think you're right. It was kind of a bridge. Like, okay, we're going to talk about what people are already thinking about anyway. Like, I wouldn't say like, hey dude, you want to hear a joke? And you're like looking over your shoulder. You're like, okay, this is going to be, there's no black people around me.
And then
I wouldn't say that guy was racist.
Mel Brooks?
Well, no, I'm not talking about Mel Brooks in general. I'm talking about we all knew this guy that would, when we're growing up, there's like black jokes being thrown around out there. I wouldn't say that guy was racist because he was throwing a joke around.
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
This guy, the last thing he's going to do is put his Klan hood on and go out and just kill black people. Like I don't know. I'm sure racism is a thing and it is something that should be taken seriously for sure.
But how bad of a problem is it?
Yeah.
How does it affect you on the day-to-day, I guess?
It doesn't affect me at all.
Now, there are people that could make the claim that they live in an area and there is discrimination against them for one reason or the other.
Discrimination against everybody, though.
I get it. I'm just saying there's probably an argument to be made.
You got tattoos on your face, Garrett.
I realize this. I get discriminated against constantly.
Do you say you really do, you think?
No, I've been pulled over, not in Kansas City. I would say this, that probably my experience getting pulled over in Emporia versus my experience getting pulled over in the inner city would be way different.
Yeah.
Uh,
You're
an
pretty well
officer,
known too around here. All the
yeah.
officers know you.
But if somebody from, say, I'm downtown Chicago, pulled me over, they walk up to the side of the car, they notice the 13 on my face right off the bat. There's a profile getting done up. I would say, right, in their mind, they're profiling this guy's skinhead, 13. He's probably from a low level
Gang of some sort.
gang of some sort. The tattoos, all of them, I didn't get a chance to look at all of them, but just there's enough of them that he's probably gang affiliated with some kind of a white supremacist group, and then go from there. But in Emporia, well, everybody knows I'm the jiu-jitsu instructor.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of knows what my deal is. They see me exercising around town. I'm not in any trouble.
I did get profiled one time in Lawrence, Kansas, of all places.
They think you were black?
No, I was black back then.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot you'd grown out of that.
So anyways, like, we had a party bus. It was a bachelor party. This probably been 15 years ago. And I just want to get on the bus. So what happened was is our party bus got pulled over, and she didn't have the licensing from Missouri to Kansas. And I was like, well, can I get on the bus, at least get my beer, my cooler, and my hoodie? And all of a sudden, an officer just kind of like stops me. He's like, no, you got tattoos. You look like you could be trouble. I'm with a lot of Hispanics.
MS-13.
But I'm like, all right, I got tattoos. I look like I could be trouble. And anybody who knows me knows I'm definitely not trouble at all. Anyways, this other feller gets on the bus and tries blowing the engine in it. He hopped in right into the driver's seat and just floored the bus.
Not affiliated with the bus company at all?
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
He gets a DUI, of course.
What?
Yeah, he didn't ever have it in gear. We were pissed off because we got kicked off a party bus. They weren't going to give us our money back, and he tried blowing it up. I think he played it out. He didn't get a DUI, but just him been drinking. It was just funny. He was next to me and like, oh, you can go on there and get his cooler and his hoodie. And
But not you.
But not me. I look like I could be trolling. This guy ends up with a DUI that night. I'm like, all right, whatever.
I guess I did one night at Power and Light. Katie and I went to some fights in Kansas City, and we went to Power and Light afterwards. And we were walking around. Was that night? Or am I thinking of another night? I had a white t-shirt on and sweatpants. And that got me denied going into one of the bars. Because he told me that he said, you got tattoos and you got a plain white tee on. He's like, you're not coming in. And I was like, that's weird. I didn't have all my face tattoos and stuff at the time. I think I might have had a couple small ones.
Huh.
Yeah. But that was the only time that I've ever experienced anything that was like, you can't be here.
Do you find yourself being like overly nice? Like if there's a woman coming into like Country Mart or Walmart, you get the door for them.
I do that anyways. Before I had tattoos, that's just something I do.
What did you say that you try a little harder?
I forget that I have the tattoos.
Like I'm always trying to be overly nice to people in public because I want them to think, okay, like not all people with tattoos are bad people.
I think I'm just nice in public anyways.
Yeah.
Whether I prefer to have good exchanges with people. I like people to think that I'm a stand-up dude. I like to keep my word. I think that's who I'm going to be even without the tattoos. But I guess I notice when I notice that people notice, because most of the time I'm not walking around thinking, I wonder if they notice my tattoos. I wonder if they're looking at me. It's people that are like taken aback when they see me. And it happens, people are like, give that they back up a little bit type deal. Maybe not step back.
Grab their kid real close.
Maybe clutch their pearls. But there is those, sometimes I get those walking around the aisle and just walking straight into aisle, and I can see somebody's eyes get bigger and them kind of like grab the cart or whatever. And I'm like, oh, excuse me. And then I try to be really nice to take the edge off, like give them a little bit of a bow down to where they think I'm smaller, I try to do that, I guess. I don't have to, but why wouldn't I?
Well, I just don't like the if you have tattoos, you're a bad guy. Like, it makes me want to be a better person to show people that, hey, not everybody with tattoos. And the society's changed too a lot.
It has a lot of kindergarten teachers running around with sleeves.
Full sleeves, doctors, lawyers, like tattoo them all.
Yeah, times change.
So what you got going on today for Father's Day? You guys doing anything important?
We went and picked up the girls from mom's. They were at mom's house for 3 weeks.
Right? How was that break?
It was okay the first couple of days, and then I immediately started missing them.
Right.
It's boring around the house.
Yeah.
It's super quiet with Katie and I there, even though we're able to kind of talk, and it's just like, it's weird. We're eating supper at the table. It's her and I, and we'd usually be talking because the girls wouldn't be shutting up about stuff. They
Right.
talk, Reese especially, about what she did or what she's going to do or some story that she made up that's ridiculous. You know, whatever she's trying to trick you, telling you that last night she became 30 years older overnight and she's actually my grandma now and shit like that. She's fucking wild. But anyway, it was weird. It was strange for like 3 weeks. It just was quieter and quieter as time goes by. And Katie obviously missed the girls in a more emotional way than I did. And the hardest part is that they don't want to come home.
Well, of course, they're at grandma's.
Like, and there's other kids there. Their cousins are there. There's
Yeah.
some kids from Opie down there. My
It's
sister's
good for 'em.
friend's kids. Yeah,
It was
it's
good for you
them
and
to get
Katie.
away. It is. We
How
got
did you guys pan out? Did you guys do anything interesting, or like
Probably-
did you take her out to dinner,
way more than
go to a
what we
movie
should have.
or anything like that? Just the two of you? Was it nice just being alone with Katie?
It was nice, but it was like also she's in the chair and I'm laying on the couch, and it's quiet. We're watching a movie where there's no interruptions. Typically, Reese is coming in 10 times.
Dad.
I thought you said you were gonna go outside with me. Like, go outside with you. It's 9 at night. You know, what do you mean? But those kind of interruptions are nice. You know, waking up and then telling the girls it's time for school, that type of stuff. Which it's summer, but you know, maybe making too much noise when I'm getting my lunch ready,
So
and then come out of the room.
you said one of them's into jiu-jitsu
She's
a little
not,
bit.
The more she's not looking forward to going back to jujitsu. I don't
Okay.
think.
She had
after
3
this
weeks
3-week
off.
break. So I'm gonna get her in there anyway and make
Right.
her do it. I said she has to do it for a year. She's not as into it. Like, kids come and go, and she had a good friend that she made that was in there. She doesn't come anymore.
Right.
So there's nobody. That girl was her age, her size. They clicked real good. And now she's not coming. And so Reese doesn't have her partner.
Right.
But that's just one of those learning experiences in jiu-jitsu, man. People quit blue belt, like 80%, maybe higher, quit. Get a blue belt, quit. I spent 2 years training, quit. That's crazy to me. But people come and go, and you got to learn, oh man, I'm never going to see that dude again. He was cool, and he was good. You know, I'm never going to fucking get to train with this guy again.
Right.
Probably never see him again. He's gone. It's weird. That happens all the time. It's crazy for me because
Well,
every
it's
time.
kind of like gyms and stuff. Like do you think people really get into jiu-jitsu to be a badass, or do you think it's more just to stay active?
I know for a fact because I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, so I get people telling me why they're going to. A lot of people want to get in to jiu-jitsu, to get in shape, to have a hobby, to meet with other people, like
Right.
to have something going on and to be healthy while doing it, and learning self-defense. It's all kind of a package deal usually.
Right.
I've never seen anybody come in and say, I want to learn how to fight. There's fighters that we tell, hey, you really need to learn the ground aspect of fighting, or, you know, so you want to do jiu-jitsu. But people just coming in for, I want to know how to be a badass.
You get like just real cocky people in there.
Sometimes. We had a guy at the old gym. He came in jeans and stuff, and he's like, I want to spar. And I'm like, you want to spar? Like, we call it rolling, but, you know, come back next time we get some shorts. He's like, I ain't gonna be back. I wanna show you guys some stuff. And we're like, God dang it. And so
Was this the most feared guy in Emporia, Kansas?
I think that if we would have the conversation would have went on, we probably would have found out that he was, in fact, if not the most feared, but one of the most feared. He probably was on mugshots. But he, so he comes in and he's in jeans, but he still wants to go. He takes his shirt off, and he just gets cooked by everyone in a bad way. We weren't even really being nice because he was being that way, and he never showed back up. He never came back in. We told him, okay, now come to classes.
Learn something.
People, if they do come in with this idea that they're going to be a badass, they know. I mean, even somebody with 2 months experience is going to mop the floor with somebody with no experience. Under that rule set, I'm not saying like you take jiu-jitsu for a month and you're going to be a street fighter. I wouldn't try it. You're going to get your teeth knocked out. But somebody that's came in and everybody in the room beats them, or at least handles them, and just maybe. I'm not one for a guy to come in and then just submit the shit out of him. I like to kind of show them that I can get on top and hold them down. I like to show them that I can hold them from any position, so I move around on them a lot and transition and hold them down, and that's enough right there where a lot of guys don't come back.
So there's this video floating around, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he makes Shaquille O'Neal look like a little guy. He's like 8 foot tall, and
My God.
it's so funny. He's picking up basketballs like this, and he just put them. I think Shaq actually paid him $1 million because if anybody can out dunk me, this here and that, and this guy shows up. And it's like, holy fuck. So what do you do? Like, I know this probably ain't happened to you, but
Dude, there's nothing you can do.
what happens when you're trying to teach somebody jiu-jitsu and the guy just 8 foot tall comes in there? Like, that's fucking ridiculously big. I mean, is there just like big dudes that ever come in there and you're just like, well, take Daniel Gallimore. He's not a tiny dude.
No.
I mean, like shaking that dude's hands like grasping a handful of bananas. That fucker's crazy.
He's not. If it's just jujitsu.
Now, could he learn anything from you? I mean, like when you're that big, like I'm sure you can teach him technique and stuff like that when you have a student that size, but I don't feel like they're ever going to get the chance to really.
Dude, almost all the black belts are going to be smashing Daniel.
Right.
Just working him. He's not going to be able to do anything to him.
Get gassed.
Won't even get gassed. Even if he doesn't get gassed, he doesn't know jiu-jitsu as well as a black belt that's been doing it. He's been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time. He knows. But he's like, even though he's big, I mean, I've seen it myself.
Not going to work though on a 1,200 pound cow.
Well, exactly, but he's not. He's a 260 pound dude.
Right.
Just like you are. Like you're a big guy, but you get wadded up.
Oh, dude.
Right off the bat.
Sure, I would.
But anybody would if you haven't trained and you're going to get somebody that's like me. I've trained for 13 years.
Right.
Even if you're really big, that guy probably not. Dude, there's a difference between a guy that can pick you up when you try to armbar him and he does this to you.
Right.
He could be choked out. There's guys out there that would work him over. Like an experienced MMA fighter, he'd be fucked.
You try to get your arm around him and not even be able to lock the dude so big.
Yeah, but if you're just using jiu-jitsu against that guy,
yeah,
it's going to be tough to armbar him. But if you're fighting him and you kick, his legs are just as soft as anyone else's.
His arms are the size of your legs.
Yeah, but their pain receptors are the same.
Right,
He gets kicked in the leg a couple of times, even from a smaller guy. He's going to be weak. He can't step on that leg to punch.
Right.
His punches aren't going to be accurate. Unless the guy trains, he's going to punch like he thinks you're supposed to. And that's like this.
Is there ever people that just come in there just naturally got it? You're like, fuck. For first time being in here, dude, you got your shit together.
And I'll tell you what, there's guys, lots of them that come in their first day and you're just like, Jesus Christ, because they're using every ounce of energy and strength that they have.
Right.
And you're not used to that. They bounce in the way that they're not supposed to bounce. They dive. They use their elbows are flying. They're spastic. You get a guy that's 225 pounds that's doing that and he's an athlete, he's going to be a motherfucker.
Jeez.
For like 30 or 45 seconds. And then their gas tank is gone. And then you can do what you want to them. But as they get better, here's the thing that happens in jiu-jitsu. As you get better, you don't use full speed. You don't use full strength. So as you get better,
Definitely strategy.
you get submitted more often.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm not going to use that because every time I use it against him, he does this and it doesn't work. I can only beat all the little people with this. It doesn't work on my fucking coach, who's a little person also, but I can't get his arm bent like that. Because if you're using muscle only, typically you're using a lot of oxygen too, because you're trying to somebody into something when you should be.
Are you still going to Topeka quite a bit and doing that, or are you staying pretty close around here these days since you got your black belt?
Well, we have Murder Thursday at Rabbit Hole.
Okay.
The first
That's
Thursday of every month in Topeka.
Okay.
But we're moved it to every 2 months now. So I always make it for that. I try to make it to at least a couple Thursdays a month up there so I can train.
Would you say you're pretty close with your coach that you've been with for all these years, or?
Yeah.
I mean, would you consider him a good friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great friend.
Is he, you think you could take him?
No.
Still
like in
no?
just jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
it's going to be a 50-50. It depends on if I'm tired from work, if he's tired from work.
Right.
We're really close, but he has a bigger book than I do of jiu-jitsu moves. But I've beat him before, and he's beat me lots of times. He's beat me way more than I'll ever be able to beat him.
Right. Do you feel like it's a good time, though, rolling with him?
Yeah, he's one of my favorites. All the black belts are like I've rolled with them for years.
Right.
And the good thing about it is I won't see them for a month, and I go to roll with them, and they're using a new move.
You're like, oh, shit, that's badass. You need to teach me that?
Usually that's how it goes first. Like, okay, let's, after this roll, show me how you're doing that and stuff, because it's just like, whoa. I've never seen that before. Where'd you see that? I want to know all about it.
Right.
I want to learn it, and then I want to bring it back here and show my guys, typically, because I learned something new. Like, it's fresh in my head. Let's go over all the details of this. How can we modify it for you? You know, the whole works.
Do you ever YouTube, like, jiu-jitsu moves?
All the time.
Okay, so
I have Flow Grappling, so it's an app that shows all the 80cc trials. Were in Houston yesterday. Or in Dallas, and we had 2 guys from Rabbit Hole competing, so I watched their matches. I go and watch any Fight to Win that's just aired. I usually go and watch those matches. Yeah. It's boring as shit, really. Jiu-jitsu is boring. Nobody wants to just watch it. But if I see something that was pretty cool and I think will cater to the guys, then I'll go and look up some videos on YouTube, practice the move a little bit to where it's fresh in my mind. Because most of the stuff I've already seen and I've already done, but not to the degree of how I'm probably going to do it at some other point. Like, I was really, really big into the daily Hiva guard for like a year. I fucking was doing it all the time. And then I hardly ever do it anymore.
Right.
And I may have to go back and watch some videos to remember
just a little.
And like, where's he putting his foot? Okay,
on
that's right. And then I'll start to perform the move. And I'll remember how I had to cater that move. My legs are longer. I couldn't do it as good as the guy that was showing it because he's got short little legs. So I'll modify it to fit my style. That way it looks good and help. If I can do the move with a good flow to it, then my students see it with a good flow and it puts in their mind. But if it's all clunky and I'm bouncing around, then they're going to be like clunky and bouncing around trying to figure out how to do it. So yeah, I'm a student of jiu-jitsu still.
Okay. So you're just always gonna be able to progress in this. You're never gonna know everything.
No, never will, man. I'll never be a great either. You know, I'll never be on the world stage.
Which is kind of weird because, you know, you watch the movie Karate Kid. He learned karate in like a summer, and then whooped the other guy's ass
with one leg.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure was an illegal move. I think he kicked that guy in the face.
Cheaters never win, man. He probably never. But look,
How do you feel about those movies or TV shows like Cobra Kai? Do you watch anything like that, or?
I've not seen Cobra Kai, but I think that there would be at least a little bit of sentiment while I was watching it because I loved the Karate Kid when I was a kid. I thought that was the art.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna learn karate and be fucking everybody up around town.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, I'm out offering to wax my dad's car. He's like, no, stay the fuck away from my car, you little bastard. You're not touching my car. Yeah. Wax it? No. You don't know what you're doing. Like, I just watched a movie about it.
Yeah, you totally do this.
Sweeping the front porch for my mom. Oh, these front sweep. She's like, what are you doing? I'm front sweeping.
Yeah, I'm about to really catch some flies with chopsticks here in a few minutes if you hang around.
Yeah. That's weird, the culture for us when we grew up. Like, literally everybody, all your friends, all my friends were jumping off the couches, doing the flying kicks on each other. And anytime
Chuck
we
Norris,
talked
Steven
about,
Seagal, Rambo. We had all these fucking icons that were just badass.
and you had that one friend that would tell you about a special move that he found out about that you can rip a guy's heart out with it, or the 1 inch punch. You had that friend that actually knew a guy because
Yeah.
he's making it up. Like I knew a guy that 1 inch punched a guy. It was
My
my
cousin's
dad's friend.
brothers, sisters to the third power's nephew taught me this.
He's in prison because his hands are registered as lethal weapons. And he
Now you
killed
can't
a
put
guy.
them in your pocket because that's concealed weapon.
Concealed carry unless you
Yeah.
got a permit for it.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
that
man,
whole
that's
thing,
so
American
funny.
Ninja, Steven Seagal, John Claude Van Damme, I thought, dude, if I learned that, you know how many people I could fuck up? Nobody would fuck with me ever if I just took a karate class. Just a couple is probably all I need. There's a comedian that said we would stand on the subway with just a Karate Daily magazine or whatever, like Karate Monthly, reading it so that people would think he's fucking a ninja on the subway. And so they wouldn't, He said that I never got into any altercations on the subway. He said, I saw him. He said, but I have that book, that martial arts magazine, and people would think that it would associate that with.
It's like I'm getting on the subway today. I got my boxing gloves just thrown over my shoulder and around my neck.
Yeah.
Like
Your wrists are taped up, Like, I guess that's a good strategy.
It is a good strategy.
You got a sweatband on your head?
Yeah.
Maybe a jump rope?
Or the ones that block your ears, like the
Headgear?
Yeah.
Maybe you wear a singlet and headgear onto a bus and you're like, oh, what the fuck?
What was that popular brand a few years ago for like MMA?
Tap out?
Yeah. Tap out shirt and some boxing gloves just thrown over your shoulder. You get on a subway. Nobody's going to fuck with you.
There's a new one. You've seen it. American Fighter. Buckle sells it.
Yeah. I had one of those shirts years ago.
Poser.
Loved it.
You're not an American Fighter.
The only reason I ended up with
Had a
that shirt
billboard.
because a buddy of mine actually gave me the shirt off his back. I needed a shirt.
No shit.
Dustin Stennett, man.
Thanks, Dustin.
He's like, you want this? I'm like, oh. He just takes his shirt off, hands it to me because I said something about, hey, I like your shirt. Oh, here you go. He just shirtless goes back out to the car, grabs another shirt, and gives me that one.
That's cool.
And I was a fighter ever since.
Did you feel different when you put it on?
Yeah, this is nice of him. He's great. He's coming back into town next month.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, that was quite the American Fighter, the Tap Out. Like these are commercially available shirts.
Does it bother you seeing a bunch of fat, old, middle-aged guys wearing tap-out shirts that don't know how to fucking fight?
It doesn't bother me one bit. They can
It's
do
like
whatever
me
they
seeing
want.
like Ed Hardy shirts and nobody's got any tattoos.
I guess there's that. There's the thing. But okay, they can wear whatever they want and I don't care. But I always, in my mind, I'm like,
Pussy.
Like,
you
you
got no
see a guy-
tattoos. You're wearing Ed Hardy.
he's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and he's got a beer belly and his shirt says tap out. Like, you've never trained a day in your life.
He did tap out.
And I don't think, honestly, that everybody that gets them, it's a popular shirt or it was a popular shirt. But I think that everybody, kind of like the martial arts book on the subway, they want you to think maybe they know something about fighting.
Right.
Because you said, I've got a jiu-jitsu shirt on right now. I wear jiu-jitsu shirts every day because when you go to tournaments, the fucking winning thing there a lot of times is that you got a t-shirt because you may have went home and got your ass kicked every single round and didn't win nothing.
Right.
You still got a silver medal because you came in second because there was two of you situation. So the shirt's like proven, I went out and did it. And not to people because nobody, you can hardly see that it says jiu-jitsu on it. You have to read it.
Donnie Darko. Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I go to these tournaments, I do everything, I'm wearing this t-shirt. It says jiu-jitsu on it somewhere, but
That's a tank top. Are they usually tank tops or are they usually
This
t-shirts?
wasn't from a tournament. Our school ordered these.
Right.
It was just like a deal that we had. But yeah, I think people wear the tap outs and the American Fighter shirt. It says American Fighter in there. And I think that gives them a little bit of peace of mind that maybe I'm not going to have to get screwed with tonight because people see that I'm an American fighter. A lot of Hispanics around town wear those American Fighter shirts. I think that's weird. American Fighter.
Huh.
But anyway, they sell them at the Buckle, bro.
Oh, we don't even have a buckle anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's right. How long have they been out of there? A long time now, huh?
6 months.
Oh, only 6 months. Where do I go to get my...
Lucky you.
They don't
Jeans.
sell Luckies anymore. They stopped selling.
Ah,
You can get them online. But if I want BKEs
okay.
and an American Fighter shirt and some Doc Martens, Where am I gonna go to look flossy?
We're gonna get Fossil watches.
Does Topeka Mall still have?
Fuck, dude, I don't know.
I
I ain't
love
been in
them.
that mall in years. People just don't go to malls.
No.
It's kind of sucks, dude, because, man, remember the nostalgia just going into the mall?
Yeah, I
You
loved
had
it.
$0 in your
You-
pocket. You're just dicking off, going in the mall, hanging out with your buds,
Walking around.
go to the food court, see how many tacos we could eat. There's always Blockbuster. Like, my daughter, it was kind of funny. We're thinking about, like, we always, what's snowball off one another, like, trying to figure out, like, business opportunities. And Miss Bell, man, she's a movie buff. She goes back here. She's got DVDs. She's a DVD collector now.
Like father, like daughter.
And it's just one of those deals. She just likes these old school movies and has the mental capacity to watch a movie. Because I tattoo people, kids all the time. Like, have you seen this movie? I don't really watch movies. But they'll tell you all about the movie. They're watching like the Cliff Notes version on YouTube.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They'll watch a whole movie in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, that's fucking weird. They just don't have the capacity to stay off their phone long enough and pay attention to a movie for 2 hours is just ridiculous to this generation. Anyway, so we're like talking about like she would have been great. She's working at the Bourbon Cowboy. I don't know if I told you that. She's a bar back.
Yeah, I think you told me, or Katie told me, somebody told me.
So her true like job would have been like working at a Blockbuster or a movie store. Would have been perfect for her. She's good at it. She knows her movies. She knows her actors. And I was like, like, is there ever going to be a time where movie stores come back? Probably not. That's a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But how about like a nostalgia deal? Like, would people pay to go? Okay.
There are still record stores.
Yeah. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. So, let's say like the gas station across the street from me. What if you were to do that up like a movie store where people could come in, look at movies, buy the popcorn, a few drinks, this, here, and that, but also have gas pumps? And it'd just be like the nostalgia thing, like call it the movie store. You're not really renting movies out, but would you go to a place that looks like a movie store to buy gas, to go in and get popcorn and a drink?
Is this like a franchise with the...
Yeah, I don't know. Miss Bell, like I said, we're just talking about it. I was like, I bet you could. Of course, it's those deals where like, oh, if we had enough money, we could do this.
Well,
or,
the demographic would have to be there.
yeah,
It'd probably work out better in a small town like this than it
Right.
would somewhere where you're only going to get a small group of people.
but people just
I don't
walking in, looking at DVDs, reading the back, it's like, oh, that looks like a good movie. Like, that, it's weird. We're like the last generation to know what movie stores are. I remember moving here to Emporia, and there was probably 5 or 6 places you could rent movies from.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a single place now.
What was Hastings before it was Hastings?
Carol's.
Carol's. So you could rent movies at Carol's.
Mhm.
You could rent movies at
Dillon's.
either of the Dillons.
Yeah.
You could rent movies at, of course,
Blockbuster, yeah, big one. Family Video. And then there was this random mom and pop things. I remember going down to the Asian restaurant over here, or market, and they had VHS of all these kung fu movies behind there.
Probably only released over in China.
Probably. Yeah. Definitely interesting. But man, it just sucks these kids will never. There's a money marketing something rather in the future, I think, to bring that shit back. Even though you're not going to be renting movies out, you can say you went to a movie store at least once in your life.
Movies are about to change dramatically for everyone.
Yeah.
There's not going to be actors anymore.
AI, everything.
Yeah.
Music, all that.
With these clips that I've been watching, the Bigfoot vlogs, and then they have like Jesus and Mary and
Let's talk
the
about the Bigfoot
stormtroopers.
blog a little bit. You brought this up a few times today. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
God. So there's a program. I don't know what it is, and this is just an example, so don't be too critical. Say you can get Chat GPT, but you pay this program $100. You tell it the story, type in the storyline, which is Sasquatch found a 6-pack of beer and got hammered and flew a helicopter. Then they run the deal on it. They put it in today's terms, like talking about gooning and risen this huzz. You know, this is the way they talk. They talk like normal humans do, but they got a GoPro or they got a selfie stick, and the Bigfoots are just running around doing these different scenarios. Like, found this camper's energy drink. Let's give it a try. Woo! And then he's like, it's 24 hours. I have not eaten. His eyes are all big and shit. They find a brick of cocaine. And one of the episodes, the helicopter drops this crate off, and they're like, what's this? And it says Trenbolin on the side and steroids. He's like, fuck, I'm going to get big, not even have to work out. The Sasquatches are using Jim Bro terminology. He's like, bro, you just squashed that 1,000-pound squat. And they're just hilarious.
So how do you look this up?
Look it up, Bigfoot vlog or anything. They're on.
All right, that sounds interesting to me.
They got like stormtroopers, like Darth Vader, Vader. They're like, Vader fucking releases to try to control this riot in LA. Fuck this shit. And he's running with another stormtrooper. He's like, oh, well, we fucked him up, but I got Greg. Because he thought he killed him. They hit him with a brick. He's like, turns out I saved Greg. And then look behind him in the scenery, everything's just torched. They just fucking torched everything with their tasers and shit.
Oh, man, AI. That's
There's one where the stormtroopers died. Vader's clothes pink. And Vader comes in, he's like, oh, nice, Greg. Fucking strangles him. But yeah, look those up. Those ones are, but that's where it's going. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, they don't look, it's AI-ish, you can tell, sometimes.
right.
The Bigfoots are really AI, you can tell. But when it's like the stormtroopers and shit, and it's God and Mary and Moses and all these guys doing these things, you're like, damn. Like, this is what it's going to be, and this is just the very beginning. This is like the first couple of years.
I've watched a few of these videos like, oh, by the way, we're not real.
Oh, yes, I've
And
seen
it's
those
like,
too.
What the fuck did I just watch?
It's like a commercial. They're getting ready to go into some kind of a...
It's like a podcast to you people.
There's a weather, and she's standing up to her chest. We're here at the Bay of San Francisco, and by the way, I'm not real.
Yeah.
And starts laughing. Yeah, that's wild, man. And it's only going to get better. Like, these are just shorts. They're telling this AI program, like, hey, make me a short film, 6 minutes long, about Goldilocks.
You just put all your information
whatever,
in there,
fill in the blank.
and then you can change shit around a little bit.
Or have them change it for you and give you the scenario back so you can see if you like it better. And then you're
so,
like, okay.
Movies are probably going to go that direction, but there's also a place to make money. Is it going to be like this is the time to jump in on it? Me and you could probably do an award-winning movie right now.
Oh, yeah.
And be on part of it. So I think actors, like you said, are probably going to be kind of a thing in the past, but it's going to be like people like me and you that everyday Joe is going to be able to put a movie out and get recognized for it. Film of the year, Johnny Garrett Nichols came up with this, and the whole thing's, of course, AI.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, but it's going to be who's going to be wanting to pay for that program to get shit done quicker. It's who jumps into the game first is going to be the ones that get recognized for it.
Yeah.
But again, there's going to be, YouTube makes everybody famous. Everybody's got their clip.
It's the same thing.
So it's just gonna be one of those deals like
People
you're gonna get your
living off of
few seconds of fame of doing a movie, and everybody's gonna remember because we're gonna be the first one that did this movie that just went viral. But then again, you have a million other people doing
way
movies.
more than a million.
Yeah, okay, billions of people.
Because India, China, Russia, Germany.
So there's just gonna be a lot more movies coming out. There's just gonna be a lot of them.
Yeah, you
could get done. Like I could do 10 movies in one day if I want.
We could just make movies and watch them ourselves. And like, God, that's hilarious. I remember when I was writing that.
Yeah.
And you put whatever actor you want in. Like, we want Tom Cruise to star in this role. There's enough film footage of him now to make and voice that they can do a whole movie. If I want Joe Rogan to be the main star, he said every line to a movie there is.
Yep.
Just gotta move the words around. They don't even have to change his voice. They just use his voice.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. And that's a possibility. I mean, we could probably right now get on my phone and be like, Joe Rogan sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yeah,
AI.
for sure. And you might have to pay. Like, there may be a service that you buy, but it's $10, and like, you want a 2-minute and 30-second song about Joe Rogan? Here you go. What do you want the content to be about? Okay, what about this?
There you go.
Cater to you. Like, you don't. It takes like dummies can do it.
It's gonna take us longer to type the shit in than AI creates the video.
Yeah, and before long, they're typing the video. As you're typing in what you want, they're already making the movie, and they're like, oh, that was even better than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Do they get rights to any of the money? They don't have a bank.
Well, is there going to be money to be made?
it may be free streaming,
right?
and that's how you make money off advertisements. There's always going to be money to be
There's
made.
a lot of movies right now, like a fuckload.
Yeah, look at all
And
the
then once
streaming
AI
sites.
and shit comes out, like I thought I had a lot of movies. I probably had like 1,500 DVDs.
But it is
I had a
lot.
pretty good movie collection, but that don't even scratch the surface of touching the internet. It's kind of funny. Like we really do watch a lot of DVDs at the house. Miss Bell watches them. I go out to my garage. I hang out. I watch DVDs. I'm in the middle of watching Invader Zim right now, but it's just like it's weird that life's just simpler. I see a movie. I'm like, I'm watching that. I can pick something out pretty quick on DVD. When I'm streaming though, I'm going through fuckloads of movies. It's like my selection's too big. Half the time I'm sitting there going through it for 30 minutes. Like, oh, I remember this movie. Damn, that came out in 98. God, don't feel like it was that long ago. Well, this one came out in 2006. Jeez, that's fucking crazy. Me and April will have like a conversation. I remember when this movie first come out, and next thing you know, it's like 30 minutes. They're like, well, fuck, it's time for bed. I guess we don't have time for a movie.
God, that's probably more than often than not. Like if you're going to the video store because you want to rent a video, you're watching something.
Right.
You're leaving with it.
Yep.
You've looked at every option because there's only 30.
Right.
And you're like, okay, fuck it, these two. And you're going home. But when you got Peacock, Disney,
Hulu, Disney, Netflix,
the list goes on.
Prime, right?
And then there's doubles because there's a lot of those movies are on several of the different
right.
apps, and you're looking through, and there's so many options. It's just like, well, I want to watch this, but what if this one's better? I watched, was it the old Chips, the new Chips movie?
The one that came out 20 years ago?
It wasn't quite 20 years ago. I think it was 2015.
10 years ago, yeah.
It might have been 2019. Yeah, 2017, I think it was, if I remember back. Regardless, doesn't matter. Hilarious. It's funny. Great movie. Wholesome, good, just funny movie.
Yes, and we grew up that as a TV show, so seeing it redone was always kind of fun, I thought.
Not even the same, just like Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah.
Not even close to the old,
No. Like
they
Shaft.
redid Hawaii Five-0.
Yeah.
Pretty good. My wife and I would watch it in the evenings. There's a lot of good movies out there. Shows, though. Have you seen Mobland yet?
I have not, but I do have some information that's good for you. Well, not necessarily you. So, I can't remember the woman's name. I don't know who the fuck she is. I've been trying to figure it out, but Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds came out 25 years ago with Nick Cage. Of course, the original movie came out. It was a totally different Mustang called the Eleanor, which was like a 73 Mustang. Anyways, I don't know if you kept up on the car world the past 25 years, but people who build replica Eleanors were getting their cars confiscated. Cease and desist kind of shit, and their car getting confiscated because they claimed they own the rights on the name Eleanor, some woman. And I'm like, all right, why not just send them a cease and desist? They have to change the name of the car. It's a Ford Mustang, but they're trying to market it like it was a character.
In the first?
The
Or
second.
in the Nick Cage one?
Yeah, Nick Cage one. So this was like everybody's doing their Eleanors and getting the body kits and doing this custom shit, which I think was actually done by Foose, if I remember right, the car. And there's like 3 different versions of the Eleanor in that movie. And it came to a point where Carroll Shelby ended up with an Eleanor, and his got confiscated. So people, and there's a guy, B for Bill, came out in 2000. I want to say it was 2020 maybe. And they actually came cease and desist thing too and confiscated his car. So there's a garage full of these Eleanors that have been confiscated, seized. Which I found kind of fucking weird. You can just come and take somebody's car because they called it an Eleanor.
Yeah, that's strange.
So they ended up doing away with that, and it just went through like a week or 2 ago where you could build an Eleanor now, and so all these people that had their cars seized are getting them back, which is going to be awesome.
That's pretty wild.
because this woman claims she owned the copyrights on the Eleanor thing, which was kind of weird because what are we talking? Like, we all know the Fast and the Furious, it's a Ford Mustang. And Carroll Shelby had a Mustang that got confiscated, if I remember right. So luckily he spoke up and had the money to push forward through this, which he's been doing for the past so many years, and he won it just now. So that's awesome.
That's kind of weird.
Which is odd when you're talking about movie cars, because the DeLorean in Back to the Future is just called the DeLorean. So it's not really, you can build a DeLorean that does 88 miles per hour and make it look like Back to the Future car, no problem. But you do a Batmobile, you're looking at
Copyright
infringement.
Really?
Shit.
For the Batmobile?
So the Count in Las Vegas had one of the molds and was doing cars, and they ended up confiscating his dies for whatever the Batmobile and crushing it.
Oh shit.
A few years back. So I don't know. The whole thing's kind of dumb. Like, to me, I just don't understand how you can take like a Batmobile. You see that, you know, that's a character.
Mm-hmm.
That is Batman's car. You know this. You see a fucking Ford Mustang that's got a body kit on there, and somebody calls it the Eleanor. It's just a fucking car to me. Carroll Shelby probably could have sued this woman that said she owned the rights on it.
Huh. Wouldn't you have to have like...
But since the DeLorean
patent
never
on-
had an actual name, it's just the DeLorean, it's fine.
Wouldn't you think if you were gonna do that, Eleanor, what makes Eleanor Eleanor? Like some window covers, hood scoop?
Yeah.
Wouldn't
Body
you think-
kit, exhaust dumping out behind the doors kind of thing.
Wouldn't you have to have a patent on that? Specific mold, the dimensions and everything, and then say nobody can do it because you could do it just an inch off.
Yeah.
Your mold just be a 3/8 of an inch longer
Right.
than,
Exhaust just a 1/4 inch different than what it was in there.
and then you'd be fine, and you could call it Eleanor because that's just a name. But
Yeah, but there's
wouldn't you have to-
copyright.
Yeah, I don't know how
These
all that
things
works.
got fucking confiscated.
That's
You
wild.
know how
That's
pissed off
crazy.
I'd be having like a $50,000 to $100,000 car and it just they came and take it from you.
Because
Well, you called it Eleanor. You're doing a replica, like we're confiscating this. Now I could call it Tiffany.
God, I'm so lucky I never had 50 or 100,000 laying around and built a car, because it would have gotten confiscated. Of course, I guess I'd get it back, probably with a scratch in it.
These people are getting them back, but I'm really excited to see what happens in the next few weeks. I think we're going to see a lot more Eleanor builds. I think Carroll Shelby's probably going to release an Eleanor now.
Like a new.
Oh
like a
yeah, I can see.
2027.
Yeah, I can see something fucking badass coming from all this.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
There's some cool Mustangs out there. Some of the way they look, they
yeah.
have a good look and a good tune.
It's these
That's
guys that drive the Ford Mustangs that are 6 cylinders. They pull up at the gym over here and they take selfies in the bathroom. Those guys, I want to punch in the face.
Do it, man.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. You should do a protest over 6-cylinder Mustangs. I'd join it.
Mustangs.
A lot of people would.
You know, they're
No more
girl cars.
6-cylinder Mustangs,
Yeah.
like Subarus. Aren't those a girl's car? Lesbian girls?
I think they're softball players.
That's exactly what they are. All right, well, guys, you got anything else you want to talk about this morning?
Nah, I think we pretty much covered everything. I don't even know how long we've been on.
I don't either. What time is it? 9?
9:16.
Probably a couple hours. Okay, folks. Well, thanks for joining us and listening to our
Rant. Happy Father's Day, guys.
Happy Father's Day.
Whoa.
See you next Sunday.
To all the guys without beards, happy Mother's Day.